next we have our judge executive candidates that will be coming up, and they will each do a 4-minute opening, and then we'll bring them both up on stage, and we're going to ask them a couple of questions, and then there'll be a few minutes at the end for closing statements from each of them. So up first is Mac McGee.
Good evening. I'm Mac McGee, the Republican candidate for the office of Judge Executive. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I'm a native of Muhlenberg County. I grew up on a small farm south of Greenville. My love for farming led me to purchase the property beside my father's farm in 1981. On that farm, Vanessa and I have built a home and raised 2 daughters, Samantha and Morgan. We have a grandson named Tucker. I'm currently employed at Murray Kentucky Energy as a manager. I've worked in and around coal mining for 30 years. I was an automotive instructor at Muhlenberg County ATC for 10 years, and 5 of those years I was assistant principal. I have owned and operated successful businesses in Muhlenberg County: Max Diesel Service, My Farm, and Greenville Auto Parts. I have a bachelor's degree in education from Western Kentucky University. I have a master's degree in administration from Murray State University. The important issues here tonight that we'd like to discuss: taxes. You're the business professionals of our community. What could local government possibly offer you, the business community, in the form of special training or services that can help you run your business? Any service offered from the government will make the government larger. It also requires revenue that we do not have, and this will cause your taxes to be raised. The single most important act that local government can do for you would be to keep your tax rate low. Another important act that local government can provide would be to promote buying local. Keep the money in the county, keep it circulating. Let's build a tax base. Let's not raise tax rates. Raising taxes is detrimental to the growing of the economy. As the business leaders of this county understand this, higher taxes adds to your overhead. It cuts into your bottom line. It takes money out of your customers' pockets and reduces their spending power. Higher taxes deters industry from locating here. We have to build the tax base. The most important factor in building the tax base is industry and jobs. I will personally go after new industry to fill our industrial parks. We have a workforce living in this county, but they're traveling out of the county every day to work. Our children are coming of age to enter the workforce, and they need jobs. If they could work here, there would be more money available to spend here at your businesses and own property and homes. This is the right way to build our tax base. Local government is a business. Let's run it that way. Leadership, teamwork, and management are necessary to achieve efficiency. We have to become efficient in order to balance the budget, pay down our debt, and make our county facilities profitable or at least supporting themselves. Transparency in local government. The average citizen of Muhlenberg County has no idea what's happening in local government. Local government will be transparent when I'm elected. In summary, as County Judge Executive, I'll utilize leadership, teamwork, and accountability to make local government efficient and balance the budget. I will look at alternatives to fund local government in order to reduce the tax burden on our citizens. I will support the education of a work-ready workforce through technical education, which is vital to attract new industry. I will promote our county's resources and personally seek new business and industry to provide good jobs for our sons, our daughters, and our grandchildren. I'm not a politician. I believe in public service. A public servant is one who serves the best interests of the people.
All right, you're out of time, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, up next is Mr. Curtis McGee.
In 2010, I made a decision to run for public office, specifically the office of sheriff. During my campaign, I was passionate, and I committed that if I was elected as your sheriff, that I would do some things that I felt like were very important for our community. I committed to go through the academy in Richmond and get my basic training so that I would be a certified officer. I committed to target drug dealers. I wanted to do everything that I possibly could to keep our children from going down the wrong roads. So I said that I would target drug dealers. I also said that I would bring a high level of integrity to the Muhlenberg County Sheriff's Office. And finally, and most importantly, that I personally would make an investment in the lives of our children and youth here in Muhlenberg County by getting connected to them and encouraging them to make positive decisions. I became sheriff in January of 2011, and after I became sheriff, I went to the academy. I kept that commitment. In fact, I've kept every commitment. I've done what I told our community I would do. I'm no less passionate about running for judge executive. I want to make Muhlenberg County a better county. It's a great county as it is, but I want to make Muhlenberg County an even better county. So I'm running for judge executive because I believe that I can serve our community more beneficial in this capacity. When I was asked recently about why I was running, that was my answer. And I believe that our county is a wonderful county, but I think there's some things that we can do to improve quality of life and economic development. Someone suggested on social media that I was running for judge executive because I wanted a raise in pay. Those of you that know county government know that elected officials across the state of Kentucky, that our county employees or county servants make the same money. I won't make any more as a judge executive than I made as a sheriff. I will make exactly the same amount of money. But I do believe that Muhlenberg County has some opportunities that are ahead of us that we need to take advantage of. So I'm a candidate that has a plan for economic development. Last week I sent out letters to our local Chamber of Commerce, whom I appreciate greatly, to each of the members of the Chamber to just connect with them and let them know that if I'm elected as a judge executive, I will make an investment in our local businesses. When I first started campaigning, I said that my primary objective would be to help our businesses that are already in place. I think it's going to be difficult for us to recruit out of the county industry to come to Muhlenberg County if the industry and businesses that we have in place are not effective in doing well. I was at a luncheon that they had here recently at Martin Hall. It was sponsored by our Muhlenberg County Alliance for Progress, and I noticed that the goals of the Alliance for Progress is to help existing Muhlenberg businesses and industry thrive. And that is certainly my goal for our community. Their second goal is to recruit new businesses in industry for Muhlenberg County, and I believe that is crucial to us as well. Economic development is our county's lifeline. I love the coal industry. I'm supportive of the coal industry, but many of us know that that industry has diminished significantly over the years. So I believe that we need to do some other things to market our county well. I believe that we need to make sure that our county is safe. We need to make sure that our county is as attractive as possible, and we need to make sure that our community is healthy as possible, and I will implement some of these programs to bring to Muhlenberg County industry and businesses. Thank you very much.
Curtis, you can stay up on stage. Mac, you can come back up on stage. So y'all can either sit on the stools or the chair, and you're welcome to stand up when you're answering the question.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we have a few questions for each of the final offices that we're meeting with. These were submitted by chamber members throughout the last couple of weeks, and we have got a couple of those here. We will not be taking questions from the crowd, but we do have some pre-prepared questions that the candidates have not seen. So the first one, Curtis will answer the first question first, and then Mac will have the same question, and they each have 2 minutes to answer the questions. So guys, given the financial challenges that Muhlenberg County faces, how do you propose to increase revenue and or reduce expenses related to the county's operating budget? So Curtis, we'll let you go first.
Obviously, the county has struggled over the past few years with regard to our budget deficit, and I think we have to look at every item on our budget. I know think that to bring economic development to our community is the most helpful thing that we can do to increase our revenue and keep Muhlenberg County headed in the right direction.
All right, thank you. Matt, same question.
I've looked at the budget. There is some licensing. The other thing is we could integrate apartment areas where the look for things like public mortgage, road department, sheriff department, all these departments getting more vision would be licensing. I think we need to lead, we need to manage our resources. We'll do everything in tax, that'll do it.
All right, thanks. So the next question, Mac, we'll let you answer it first. So we have a new regional business park in Graham. We have a business park in Greenville, and we are affiliated with the regional business park in Ohio County. What specific tools and ideas do you have to attract and expand industry and bring jobs to Muhlenberg County?
Number one, we need to get our parks, industrial parks ready for business. Have to work for that, make sure it's ready. We have the opportunity to bring that business in. It's already ready, allowing, there's a grant issue we're going around, gas line, here we got a grant, gas line, and right. We just make sure that we're ready. The other thing is, for the government, with $9 million out there, investors who want to invest on areas like ours. They need to be reaching out to them, reaching out to people, that want to public, go together.
All right, thank you. Curtis, same question.
Obviously, there are some things that we need to do, like the gas line, to get our park ready. I'm hoping, well, I know some people are working on that, and hopefully that's what we come back. But some of the things that I was mentioning a few moments ago, like making sure that our community is safe. That is key to the industry. There are people literally around the world that are looking for places to make investments, so we have to be safe. Thank you, Muhlenberg County, as I mentioned a moment ago, is to be practice possible. I love our community. We have beautiful terrain, beautiful homes, beautiful people. I was driving to Greenville Ground recently, and I noticed on the side of the road a lot of trash, a lot of litter that was thrown out. And that issue needs to be addressed. And I would like to get a detective, I think they were very close to the road departments and the jail and the sheriff to ensure that our community is as clean as possible. Our community needs to be attractive. And finally, I think the helpful campaign that I've been talking about is beneficial to our community as well. It's important that the world knows those that are looking to build an industry in Muhlenberg County is in the county. We will not going to come here and build a plant just because we have people that get jobs. We have to get people. This city helping campaign is something that I believe can help our community tremendously. We need to promote sobriety and good health. I've talked to the director of our hospital, the director of our health department, people from mental health, people from physical fitness center, Central City, and a lot of people in the healthcare field that are interested in getting on board and that's developing to get help in that.
All right, thank you all. So that's all the questions we have for you all, but you each do have 2 minutes for closing statements. So Curtis, you're up first, and if you can stand there, you can come up to the podium, whatever you would like.
I'll stand here. Let me close out saying thank you for coming. I appreciate you trying to organize this event. I appreciate my opponent, all the candidates who spoke. I think everyone's done a good job. I appreciate men and women that choose to run for public office. It's not easy. It's important that good people step up and step out and run for public office. I believe that Muhlenberg County is a wonderful place to live. It's not hard. It's home to most of you. Most of you like me, or you want born here, you're reared here. I was born and reared in Muhlenberg County. I have been a non-controversial person. I can make hard decisions. I do. I do a lot. I do a lot. But I like to avoid controversy. I don't think we need competition. I think we need collaboration. And I'm a person that will encourage our community to work together. I was visiting with a man some time ago, and we were talking about politics, and I was trying to win votes. That's obviously what we do in the campaign. He said, I don't know. I normally don't vote for Democrats. He and I continued talking. He told me he was going to vote for him. But whenever I left there, I was thinking about how important it is for our community to come together, Republicans and Democrats, Methodists and Baptists, school teachers, educators, and coal miners, and healthcare workers. If we come together, there's a lot we can do in Muhlenberg County. I can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. But working together, we can make Muhlenberg County a wonderful county.
Thanks, Curtis. Matt, your closing comments.
I've been told questions why I'm always had a heart to be. I was a youth director at church, I did Sunday school, and I've done it for 7 years. I have grandsons 5 years old. I keep hearing in growing that we are a county of authority. It's time to make a change in Muhlenberg County. It's time to look out for the future of our children and our grandchildren. It's time to work hard to bring business into the community. It's time to make Muhlenberg County great. That's what I intend to do on the legislative day, work hard for you, children, and you of the county. We've got to start. We can't sit here at home. We've got to work. That's what will bring industry and jobs. So we'll have a community better, so we improve the tax base.
Thanks, guys.
Good evening. I'm glad to see so many people here. I wish there were a lot more. I was asked to talk about first a little bit about my background. I was in one of the last one-room schools in the state at Rosewood. There was about 30 people, 2 people in the 6th grade. And the former mayor of Greenville got a quarter a day to start the fires, so I thought he was doing great financially. I graduated from Muhlenberg Central High School and from Murray State University, where I was certified as a high school and middle school teacher. Then I was also commissioned a lieutenant in the U.S. Army, and following that went on active duty for 2 years. Served. I could have gone and got out in 90 days, but I volunteered to do the full 2 years. Commanded troops while I was there, and had a great responsibility in administration of a lot of programs in the Army. After I graduated from law school, I came back to Muhlenberg County, and I lived here ever since then. I grew up in Muhlenberg County. My wife, Jan, who you met tonight, and I are the parents of 3 children, and we have 4 grandchildren. They live in 3 states as adults, and 2 states where their grandchildren are living. The next thing I want to focus on is the greatness of Muhlenberg County and Kentucky, the opportunities we have. But we have to make advantage of them. Right now we are faced with numerous tax increases on individuals, 17 new sales taxes, charter schools being created, opportunities for injured people to get relief from their injuries seamlessly has been destroyed, and the taxes. Those are the issues that we face. Now, my record of 20 years in the Kentucky General Assembly has been one that I think has been pretty good. I brought back in excess of $300 million to each of Hopkins and Muhlenberg counties, which I represented during that period of time. I also passed into law, I think, 52 bills of my own, and brought into law, helped bring into law in excess of 200 more bills. So I've been engaged at all levels of government, at the state level, at the regional level, and at the national level of legislative actions, serving as chairs at the national level of National Conference of State Legislatures and as chair at the Southern Conference. So I've been involved in a lot of things. As a result of that, including that $300 million in Muhlenberg County, it includes the ramp at Graham, it includes the Madisonville Community College satellite, which was the first thing I activated in the special session of May of 1997, I believe, and also the Regional Industrial Park and a lot of other infrastructures that's in this county. I engineered it happening. We have a lot of things we have to do to focus our kids in the direction we need to go. but we got to take the monkey off the back of people and not hit them with so many taxes that they can't go there. We've got to have kids who are drug-free and are educated and haven't dropped out and have a goal in life. We've got to focus as a state and as a county on educating our kids to get vocational degrees, manufacturing degrees. The number one employing job in this country, in this state, is manufacturing. Aviation, we aren't focusing on that. We need to get that involved in this campus, in this industrial building of this campus, which is not being fully utilized. If we want to create jobs here, we can create them everywhere if we teach kids a skill and get them to do it. We are not doing it here, and I'm about out of time, so I'm going to close and just say, focus on the problem and not the rhetoric, but focus on the needs of people and get the job done.
Thanks, Brent. Next up is Melinda Prunty.
Good evening. I'd like to say thank you to the Greater Muhlenberg Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I am Melinda Prunty, and I have been proud to serve these past 2 years as state representative of the 15th District in Western Kentucky that includes all of Muhlenberg and Southeast Hawkins counties, and I'm seeking re-election. I grew up in Ashland, Kentucky, the daughter of a union pipe fitter, and a stay-at-home mom until I was in the 5th grade. I graduated from Paul G. Blazer High School and went on to earn a Bachelor of Health Science degree from the University of Kentucky in Physical Therapy and earned a Master of Theological Studies in 2010. My husband of 39 years, Dr. Eddie Prunty, and I met at UK. We lived in Georgia for 3 years prior to coming and feeling led to move to Muhlenberg County to Greenville in 1984 to open his private medical practice. We raised our 3 daughters here and have both been active in the community ever since we moved here. I worked 20 years as a physical therapist in various capacities that included 10 years home health here in Muhlenberg County. That experience included working with many children from preschool to high school that took me into both their homes and into the schools. Being in the homes of varying socioeconomic families showed me firsthand that we as a society and government hand out fish, we don't teach people how to fish. I went on to serve as the director of the Office for Youth Ministry for the Diocese of Owensboro for nearly 20 years. That experience had me manage a large budget and afforded me the opportunity to deal with those in authority and facilitate many meetings and discussions where folks were not always on the same side of issues that had to come to a resolution. That experience also led me to Frankfurt, where I became aware of the ultrasound bill, a piece of pro-life legislation that languished in the House for at least 20 years prior to its passage, that gives a woman the most information she can possibly receive prior to taking a used decision when facing an untimely pregnancy. Subsequently, I felt called to run for office over this issue as I was concerned with the direction of our country and state were heading and wondered what we were leaving our children and grandchildren, of which we have 8, both morally and fiscally. These past 2 years have been a whirlwind, and I've taken some tough votes, but each and every one done in the exact same manner. Educating myself to the best of my ability, talking to folks on both sides of issues, constituents in particular, praying, voting, and letting the rest go, because ultimately I have to answer to the man upstairs. Some accomplishments of the past 2 years: I sponsored a landlord tenancy bill that assists victims of domestic violence. I sponsored a physical therapy compact bill that will give greater access to care for patients, as well as greater accountability for professionals. I carried the Right to Try bill on the House floor for Senator Embry and sponsored a resolution that encourages first responders to receive training as it relates to autism. I'm proud to have cast my very first vote for the ultrasound bill. I do not believe that that was a coincidence. I've supported ag issues for our local farmers and loggers. I will continue to fight for life, coal, and job creation. I've advocated for coal at every level, including reaching out to the TVA board regarding the future of Paradise Unit 3, communicating my efforts to the federal delegation, and encouraging the confirmation of John Ryder to the TVA board. I will continue to fight for the First and Second Amendments. I have proudly co-sponsored and voted for legislation to support veterans of all ages, and I will continue to work for adoption and foster care reforms. Some of the work that I'm proudest of serving on in the House was serving on the House Adoption and Foster Care Work Group. Out of that came House Bill 1 from this past session, the goal of which is to put what is best for the child at the center of the process. We need to monitor the effect of the changes that continue to tweak the process as needed for the children of the Commonwealth. I've added pro-insurance reforms to my platform. I've had several constituents with uninsured motorist issues, homeowners insurance issues, and health insurance issues. And I pledge to do what I can at the state level to urge our federal delegation on behalf of 15th District residents to work to encourage competition among health insurance companies. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to participate in the forum this evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you to both of you all. Now we have a couple questions, so Brent, if you'll join Melinda on stage. So it's the same process as our last questions to the judge executives. So Melinda, you'll start by answering the first question first, and then Brent.
Okay.
So the most pressing issue for the legislator during the last session was Kentucky's pension crisis, most notably affecting state workers and teachers. So Ms. Prunty, you have been criticized for your support of the governor's reforms for the state's pension system. How do you respond to that criticism and the contention that the reforms went too far?
First of all, we didn't, what Senator Clinton wanted not the governor's plan. The governor wanted a much more extensive plan, but everybody was running to 401k. What we ended up with were minor reforms to try to bring the previous pension reforms to state workers on a level playing field. They can no longer, we have to put in the 4 years of the last year of federal pension, and can't work 1 day or a month and get 4 years credit. It's mostly time changes for state workers. For teachers, it was the bill, so we sent it along to one. If legislators paying any attention at all, it was sent to one, the 3 changes that they asked for. It was fully restored to total to current retirees, so all retirees, all their benefits were fully restored. It was taken out for 20 years of litigation for career teachers, and so the rules that started as they finish under the major change for career teachers was they can put they do their airtime or counting their sick days toward their pension from June, July this year to December this year. But moving forward, they can't do that. But the reason being is nobody puts money in some of those years that time. I think there's some confusion about that because they can still get their sick days every year, they can still accrue their sick days, and they can still get cash payment for their sick days. We can't pass it on to their pension workers again. For new teachers, new hires, there'll be a major change, but I also believe we passed the financial literacy this year, that those new hires are on one 401k, they're not the plan that we put in right next door to the current plan. It's not 401k, it's not the 401k that's suggested. It's a shared responsibility, cash out plan that is a Social Security replacement plan, and it wouldn't keep Social Security, but a federal law would be mandated that it be funded at 15%. The state
All right, I think you're out of time. Sorry. So Brent, on that same topic, how do you defend the growth of the state pension deficit during your long tenure as state representative and as co-chairman of the Pension Oversight Committee?
The Pension Oversight Committee was created for the purpose of finding a solution to the pension problem. Historically, the pension amount was put into a budget which first reported to the governor about the pension system, and then the governor makes a presentation of the budget to the General Assembly in the first week or 10 days of an even number of years for writing other purposes. Historically, the governor has determined how much was put into a pension based on what the pension system suggested. In 2013, because of some factors beyond control of anybody, we were sinking under the effect of the 2002 recession and the 2008 Great Recession, in which pensions at all levels were severely cut in value by about 50%. Teachers was not one of those pension systems that was severely hit. It's always been one of the better funded. KERS is the one that was hit the hardest because it also had huge investments in stocks that were not hedge funds, that were not good investments. When they made investments, when they large sums, they made for 10 years, you could expect it's going to be down. The Great Recession was a big problem that affected the value of the pension system. As long as the mark is paid, it will be not a problem for sustaining the pension system, according to Executive Senator Economic Policy, Case of Bay. The fix came in 2013 when we repaired the pension system with a bill that there then, and one of the things we did, I wrote into the law, which said
right, you're out of time. All right, so the next question, Brent, you will answer first. As so much emphasis has been placed on the Commonwealth's unfunded state pension plan, do you believe that elected officials have an obligation to be transparent about the retirement income they will receive, given that their retirement is paid by taxpayers? Why or why not?
Absolutely should be transparent and absolutely should be available. The amount a particular person draws or might draw when they retire is always information that's available in a single government pension system, giving the question, and that information is available. Part of this, as I want to keep mine secret, I was never a question about secrets, always in the public record. The question is, in context of the language that's being used, what should be done to former employees who are retirees and who are under an viable contract that their pension system will not be changed? That was the question. I said it wasn't anybody's business, but former employees who were in a system that did not allow the disclosure of that information should not be made available. For anybody else, it was then available. I thought pension is a matter of public record and no secret anywhere. It's not a secret anywhere either. It's like delegations were done or the public record. Those pension systems are now all public records. And our pension system is well administered. The KERS system is the one that is in the toughest trouble still. The reforms we made in 2013 were going up for a 20% fund level on that. They've gone back down since then for reasons not on me, but I think it's probably bad investments of the KERS system. The other thing that's affected today is an artificial lowering of the anticipated rate of return on investment. When you lower the anticipated return on investment, then the need to put in more money increases, and that's where the shortfall comes from in part.
Good deal. So Melinda, same question. If you need me to repeat it, just let me know. As so much emphasis has been placed on the Commonwealth's underfunded state pension plan, do you believe that elected officials have an obligation to be transparent about the retirement income they will receive, given that their retirement is paid by taxpayers? Why or why not?
Absolutely, and when I came into office in 2017, I very first week in tax, the transparency bill that lifted the veil that actually exposed all legislators' attention. And I actually tried to deny mine, say I didn't want my pension, and I couldn't do that. I always had to go in the KERS, but I feel like your pension you should get from the job, because your legislator is not supposed to be the job, it's supposed to be monetary. But I do believe that the companies and all the taxpayers are the employer in this situation, and they deserve to know what legislators are making.
All right, good deal. So now we're to closing comments. So Brent, you will open us up with your 2 minutes closing comments.
I do appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I appreciate the opportunity to serve with the state for 20 years. I ask for your vote on November the 6th of this year. We have critical economic needs of the state that must be addressed. We must address continuation of efforts to better invest our pension dollars. We must continue to better spend our dollars that are used for all the services of the state. Right now, we have on you an increase in your income taxes. 95% of people in this state receive an income tax increase, whether you know it or not. That's on top of the federal one you got. 5% of the people in the state have a decrease. All of us, 100% of the people in this room now have 17 new sales
Brent, you're out of time.
There is much misinformation and as well as incorrect information being spread on both radio and newspaper regarding my voting record, as well as the intent of some legislation that was passed these past 2 years, and I'm willing to try to clear up any misunderstandings. There is more work to be done for life and for getting our fiscal house in order. We have unfunded liabilities to the tune of between $43 billion and $80 billion that accrued over the time that my opponent was in office, which is a lot of debt to leave on the backs of our children and grandchildren. Until we get that paid off, our state credit rating will remain downgraded and we will be held back from future development. We did pass the first steps towards comprehensive tax reform to try and update our antiquated tax code. The goal is to move towards a tax system that will make us more competitive for bringing companies in to create jobs and to keep both our own residents here and make it attractive for those leaving the military to consider staying here. Other reasons for tax reforms were to try to find funding for the unfunded liabilities mentioned above. The changes we made moved Kentucky from 33rd to 18th in business competitiveness, as well as made Kentucky with the state with the 17th lowest rate for personal income tax. I also believe the 1115 Medicaid waiver, if it will stand, will help the economy. We need to empower people, not enable them. Because of the work that we've done these past 2 years, the economy is improving, unemployment is down, income taxes have been lowered, 1% flat to a flat 5%, we did not raise sales tax, we expanded sales tax, the 6% already existing sales tax to some previously tax-exempt services. When we were in session, we heard a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of chants of find funding first. And we were encouraged to look at tax exemptions. But now that we're implementing some tax exemptions, we're getting criticized for it. So trying to pay off those unfunded liabilities and keep the promise and balance the budget. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all to both of our candidates for state representative. So our final candidates that will be speaking tonight is state senators. We have Crystal Chappell and C.B. Embry, and Crystal's going to welcome us first with her opening comments.
Good evening. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for holding this event tonight, and thank you to each and every one of you for being here. My name is Crystal Chappell, and I'm your candidate for Kentucky State Senate. I'm a special education teacher at Muhlenberg South Middle School, a proud union member, and a blue-collar citizen who understands the hardships of living paycheck to paycheck. I'm here tonight with my husband Shad, who's also a teacher at Muhlenberg North Middle School. I've lived here for 22 years, and Shad was born and raised in this community. We chose Muhlenberg County to build our home and to build our lives here within our community. We both chose to become educators and serve our community within Muhlenberg County. Now I want to carry that service on to Frankfort. I want to show my students that with hard work, dedication, and they can accomplish anything. I want to go to Frankfort to create a better tomorrow for my students and for the generations that follow. I've watched over the past several sessions at what's been happening in Frankfort. I thought I can complain or I can become more directly involved. I decided that enough is enough. Things have to change and the government has to start working for you, not just the special interest. As your senator, I will stand on the front lines and fight for you every single day. I'm committed to funding, protecting, and enhancing our existing public schools. I'm against for-profit charters that seek to pull money away from the schools that we already have in place. I'm committed to fighting for workers' benefits, for workers' compensation benefits, and the reinstatement of prevailing wage. I will fight to repeal right to work, and I will always stand on the side of working families. I'm committed to safeguarding all workers' pensions and securing funding for them. And I will always stand firmly against any plan that seeks to eliminate or reduce funding for benefits of retirees, including COLAs, health care, and pensions. I'm committed to making Muhlenberg County and the 6th District an even better place to work and to raise a family. To get there requires thoughtful public policies that build capacities, open up opportunities, and promote equity. To enhance our economy in Kentucky and within the 6th District, we must build from the bottom up and the middle out. We need state and federal policies that directly take on the problem of stagnant wages. This includes a much-needed increase in the minimum wage to lift it up to a livable wage, access to paid leave, and pay equity laws. We must invest in education and not cut funding completely out of the budget for textbooks and professional development for teachers, as we saw in this last session. We must also invest in infrastructure and ensure internet accessibility across the district without any discrimination. As your senator, I will not lose touch with the district. I will go to Frankfort and serve and come back to my classroom and my community. I will not forget where I came from and who I'm serving. Thank you.
You can sit over there if you want to sit in the front row. Either one. All right, up next we have Mr. C.B. Embry.
I thank the Greater Muhlenberg Chamber for having this event. I'm a member of the Greater Muhlenberg Chamber. They asked me to speak on how to make Muhlenberg County a better place to live and play. The main issues that I see facing us is education and economic development. The future of the Commonwealth of Kentucky depends on the educational training and opportunity that our students receive. And we must support our public school systems. I'm a former public school teacher. School systems in coal-producing counties have lost money because of the decline in the coal severance tax. In the last session, we passed legislation which I supported to help those school systems. Muhlenberg County school system received $90,000. Now, education and economic development goes together because we have to have an educated, well-trained workforce that has the skills to attract new industry. During the last 4 years, I have attended the meetings, the monthly meetings of the Muhlenberg Alliance for Progress and the Muhlenberg Paradise Industrial Park Authority. The members of those boards are among the leading citizens in Muhlenberg County, and they have been working hard trying to attract industry. I go to those meetings to offer my support and that of the state. Paradise Park needs about $1.5 million to bring in a gas line and to fix a area that floods. We need to take action to correct that. We passed the TVA bill in the last session, which I supported. It took us 3 years to get it passed. We had to get majority agreement. No one legislator can do anything by himself. He has to have majority agreement. That legislation awards the Muhlenberg County Fiscal Court $52,000 the first year, $104,000 the next 2 years, and $150,000 thereafter. Those two boards I just mentioned is working with the Muhlenberg County Fiscal Court, working out a deal to leverage those funds from the TVA bill to get a low-interest loan to repair Paradise Park so that we can attract industry. There's many industries very interested in that facility, but we need the gas line and the drainage fixed. We're working to do that. A place to play as well. I'm a major financial supporter of the Muhlenberg County Stallions baseball team that plays each summer as a collegiate team here at this facility. I also supported the funding for the boat dock at Lake Balloon. I appreciate the Chamber having us here, and I look forward to the rest of the program. Thank you.
All right, thanks to each of you all. Crystal, if you want to come on back up. We have the same format as the last two, and CB, we'll start with you for this first question. So last year we were all surprised when the legislature passed sweeping changes to the tax code, literally in the 11th hour of the legislative session. It was predicted that the increases would raise about $480 million in new revenue over the next 2 years. This revenue was designed to put back in place programs that were cut from the state's budget. By most accounts, the legislation had a negative impact on nonprofits and small businesses in our community. At the same time, a number of large industries were untouched or flatly exempted from the new taxes. If elected, do you plan to revisit this newly enacted legislation, and what are your specific ideas to amend the tax code for a fairer implementation?
We've been working on the tax reform ever since I've been in General Assembly and never passed it. It's very difficult to get a majority agreement on the program. Sometimes the best option is not good. The other options are worse. I think the tax on nonprofits should be correct. And I'll be working with other legislators on a pre-file bill to correct that situation. However, the money bill for the budget has been passed, or otherwise the budget would not be passed. And that would have been devastating and tragic to the education. We would have lost the additional sick time, and we probably would have seen in the community education business program that we would achieve. This is the best of the options available. We will be working to correct the situation during the nonprofit.
Okay. Crystal, the same question.
Could you repeat it?
I can. Last year we were all surprised when the legislature passed sweeping changes to the tax code, literally in the 11th hour of the legislative session. It was predicted that the increase would raise about $480 million in new revenue over the next 2 years. This revenue was designed to put back in place programs that were cut from the state's budget. By most accounts, this legislation had a negative impact on nonprofits and small businesses in our community. At the same time, a number of large industries were untouched or flatly exempted from the new taxes. If elected, do you plan to revisit this newly enacted legislation, and what are your specific ideas to amend the tax code for a fairer implementation?
Absolutely need to revisit the taxes on nonprofit organizations. It's devastating to those who are just trying to make a difference in our community. I think our standing here in Muhlenberg County, where the big charity providers who are trying to push change in the community, it's putting a further burden on not only
We have so many families who are struggling to make ends meet, and the taxes that were implemented are very harmful to them. And it just puts a strain on the already, the ownership that they already have.
Thank you. So Crystal, this next question you'll answer first. As a candidate for high office in the Commonwealth, and one whose actions will have impact on the lives of your fellow citizens, what do you believe is the single most important issue you'll advance in next year's session? And please explain your stance on the important issue.
There are many, many issues that are so vital and important that our Commonwealth is facing right now. Job growth is a very important issue that our district is facing, and it affects everyone. We need to make sure that broadband and the internet is accessible to everyone in every corner of the state without discrimination. We need to also make sure that we're focused on our students and we're providing them excellent opportunities for pathways that are, maybe they're not all, we all know that they're not all college bound. So we need to make sure that we're offering instruction and maintenance pathways for them to have the skills in place that employers are looking for, and to make this area a beacon where industry will want to locate here. I think that we also need to make sure that we have a trained workforce with technical training and soft skills in place that they need. So pretty much we're going to have to make sure that we have individuals that are trained with the abilities that will attract industry to this area.
Okay, thank you. CB, the same question. Need me to repeat it? Okay.
We've been strongly support our public school system. I'm strongly against charter schools and taking money away from our public schools. A strong public school system is the backbone of the state. It's the future of our students depend on it. We also need a dedicated funding source for our pension system. The promise made is a promise that should be kept. And we should take action to make sure our pensions are sound and our parishioners will receive the pensions that they have not. The pension bill, the budget fully funded the pension program in the next 2 years. As the pension bill itself, I think has many problems. First, I think it's unconstitutional, but we will work on it during the next session, depending on how forward we will come. So making our public school system strong and dedicated funding source for our pension system, so those receiving pensions will have a safe place for their pensions.
All right, thank you. So now it's time for the closing statement. So it looks like CB, you're going to go first with your closing statement.
I have a wide range of experience that has taken me a lifetime to develop and secure. I've been a educator, a community leader and activist, a businessman, and a public official. I was initially a public school teacher. I've been very active as a community leader and activist, having been elected to as president or chairman of 18 different local, regional, or state organizations. I've received awards from the Ohio County Chamber, the Butler County Chamber, and the Barren River Area Development District for my work as a community leader. I have been a businessman for 25 years. I owned and operated a newspaper and a shopping center. I'm the only member of the General Assembly that have served in 3 branches, all 3 branches of government. As in the executive branch, I've been mayor of my hometown and twice served as judge executive. In the judicial branch, I served as judge of quarterly court, which is now known as district judge. And in the legislative branch, I have served 16 years in the Kentucky General Assembly. This wide range of experience gives me the opportunity to deal with the vast array of issues we face that are difficult. I most humbly ask you for your vote and support so I continue to work and serve you. Thank you.
All right, Crystal, you're up next.
We understand that it's our actions that not only affect us now, but for future generations to come. We understand that it's our duty to leave this world better than we found it. The last legislative cycles have not honored this belief. The power is ours and ours alone to change this on November the 6th. We deserve a better balance in our state government. We deserve leaders who will stand with retirees and the working men and women of this state and ensure that they are getting the benefits that they deserve. We can elect a coalition of leaders who will work together across the aisle for positive change. It is time for change in the 6th District. It is time to raise the minimum wage, to provide paid family and sick leave, and to improve pay equity. It's time to reinvest in Kentucky classrooms and make quality childcare more affordable for families. It's time to look out for the workforce by protecting and enhancing benefits rather than stripping them away. I am eager to serve the people of the 6th District, from Hanson to Hartford, from Beaver Dam to Bremen, from Madisonville to Millport and Morgantown and everywhere in between. I would be honored to serve as your next state senator. I've received endorsements from the Kentucky 120 United, which is the largest group of public employees and teachers across the state. I'm proud to say that I've been endorsed by my union brothers and sisters at the IBEW, with the plumbers and pipe fitters, the heat and frost insulators, and the Teamsters. Thank you all for your time.
Sorry. All right, let's give a big round of applause to all the candidates. They all did a great job this evening. I want to give a special thanks to our timekeepers and question reviewers, Lainey Gardner and Dean Rowe, and also TJ and Sean in the back that took care of all the audio visual stuff. As Chamber President, I do want to plug a Chamber event we have coming up next week. Next Wednesday night, right here in Martin Hall, November 7th at 6:30. 3 churches have came together, First Baptist of Greenville, Second Baptist here in Greenville, and Green River Chappell, and they're bringing in Valley Collins. She was on the flight that landed in the Hudson River, Flight 1549, that they also based the movie solely on. So she's going to share her experience and what she learned that day and how God helped her. And then she'll be joining us at the Chamber meeting the next day to share the leadership lessons that she learned that day. And Sean and TJ also wanted me to mention their upcoming events. They have War Bonds that will be here on November 9th at 7 o'clock. And then the Sanders Family Christmas event, it's December 3rd at 7 o'clock here. And tomorrow they are having No Tricks, Just Treats special at Martin Hall, so all the shows are on sale for $9. So I think they're going to have the box office open this evening, and you could also stop in tomorrow to get those tickets. So thank you all for coming out tonight. Go out and vote next week, and then let's get those candidate signs down. Thanks.